if that moves, I might poop my pants. What is that thing?
That's a car fire, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Oh shit.
Door's wide open.
What the hell? Oh yeah, the door is open.
Something was growling out there. And it walked halfway around.
He went camping alone, expecting nothing more than a quiet night in the wilderness. But as the darkness closed in, strange noises, shadowy figures, and terrifying encounters began surrounding his camp. From footsteps outside tents to people hiding in the woods, these stories prove that sometimes you're never truly alone out there. Now you're about to see some of the most horrifying camping encounters ever caught on camera. This video comes from YouTube creator The Explorer Returns. This video comes from a channel focused on exploring dangerous and isolated locations connected to crime, strange activity, and unsettling encounters at night. In this episode, two friends drive through Underhill Lane, a remote countryside road known locally for muggings, suspicious activity, and stolen vehicles. Almost immediately, the atmosphere feels tense because there are barely any houses, no phone signal, and long stretches of narrow road surrounded by darkness. The biggest moment happens when they suddenly discover a burnt-out Mercedes abandoned beside the lane.
That's a car fire, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Oh shit.
Door's wide open.
What the hell? Oh yeah, the door is open. Oh my god, and it's people been fly tipping as well. Oh, we've got to pull over and
That is
get.
bad.
We're gonna have to get out and look at this. Oh, the problem is if there's people fly tipping here, car fire, fly tipping, there's going to be some dodgy people about, isn't it?
Is it worth turning around so your headlights are on
Are we not going to get out?
it? Yeah.
There's a car coming. Look, who's that in the field?
Where?
There's a torch there.
Where?
Look, right there, through the trees. Someone's shining a
Yeah.
light.
Should we move?
I don't know. Who's shining that light on us? Look, there's someone literally there.
The car appears completely destroyed, with its doors left open, leading them to believe it was stolen and intentionally set on fire.
What do you reckon it is?
I don't know.
It's got nice alloys.
I don't like the fact that that truck's over there somewhere and the engine's off.
It's quite loud, I think we'll hear it if it does come back.
I'm more thinking that they've stopped and they're walking here. Oh, this is a Mercedes A-Class.
Is it?
Yeah, you can tell by the exhaust and the way the headlight, the rear lights are doing. There's a fire table on the tree. What the hell? What the fuck? See, this is what I mean. We've driven up here knowing that this is a place for crime and the dodgy shit goes on, and the first thing we see is a burnt out car, which we presume is probably stolen.
This must have been here a little while. Pretty rusty. I mean,
Wouldn't it be rusty straight away anyways?
it would strip all the paint.
While investigating the vehicle, they begin noticing strange lights shining from a nearby field and multiple vehicles slowing down to watch them from the darkness.
I don't know if it's my eyes going
Are
funny.
we-
It looks as if it's...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a floodlight on like a shed. I don't like the fact that that car just slowed down and now the engine's turned off. Big diesel truck just goes off. If they
Anything can happen down here.
if anything's going to happen, it will happen down here. Yeah.
No focus signal.
Is there no? Shit. Right, just be ready to get back in the car.
Things quickly become more intense when a pickup truck appears to start following them with its headlights switched off.
We got someone behind us.
Have we?
Yep. They just switched their headlights on. They were tailgating us with their lights
Really?
on. Now they've just switched the headlights on.
They're very dim.
Yeah.
What the hell?
They're coming up quick. Look at them, how fast they're coming up behind us. Their headlights were off.
Yeah.
Their headlights were off and then they switched them on. Okay, right, let's get the fuck out of here because they're going to try and rob this car, innit? They're definitely going to try and rob this car.
Have you locked your doors?
Yeah, the doors are locked automatically.
They've stayed way back now.
Well, they're not gonna. If I speed off, they're not gonna keep up with us in this car.
They realized the vehicle had been tailgating them silently before suddenly turning its lights on behind them, causing both of them to panic and speed away. Because the road is extremely narrow with almost nowhere to escape, they genuinely fear they could be ambushed or robbed if forced to stop. Later, after deciding to return deeper into the lane, they hear a loud metallic crash nearby that sounds like someone dropping a metal pole in the darkness beside the road.
Well, we thought it looked clear last time and then they were behind us. What was that?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. What was that?
Don't know.
I heard it sounded like someone dropping a pole or something.
Yeah. That was a metal pole from behind.
I don't know if this is the best way. Well, there's no going back now.
There's no going back. There's no going back. Someone.
Yeah.
Did you fucking
I heard
hear that?
I don't know if the camera would have got that.
I don't know.
It literally is the sound where metal pole dropping, echoing off the floor.
Combined with the strange lights, disappearing vehicles, and the constant feeling of being watched, the situation becomes increasingly unsettling. What makes the video stand out is how realistic the danger feels. Instead of paranormal activity, the fear comes from the possibility that real criminals may have been hiding somewhere along the isolated road the entire time. This video comes from a military-style bushcraft and outdoor survival channel named Man Bog Wild, where the creator tests old field equipment, improvised shelters, and cold-weather camping setups in realistic outdoor conditions. In this episode, he demonstrates an individual protection kit, a small trench-cover shelter system originally issued to troops during the 1980s.
The individual protection kit. The individual protection kit was a small shelter issued to troops in the 1980s. The kit consists of a waterproof sheet, 6 aluminium tubular pegs, and cord, and allowed a waterproof roof to be fitted over a trench to improvise a weatherproof sleeping position in the field. Now, originally these kits come in sealed units, so you actually have to cut into the bag to retrieve the contents, which we will do now.
The kit includes a waterproof sheet, aluminium pegs, and cordage designed to create a weatherproof sleeping position over a slit trench. After opening the sealed pack and laying out the components, he heads into the woods to test whether the old military setup still works in real conditions.
So all we have to do now is put it to the test.
Most of the video focuses on the exhausting process of digging the trench itself, working against fading winter daylight, and while dealing with an injured finger from a previous knife accident, he slowly carves out a narrow sleeping hole using a folding tactical shovel.
I'm sure this would be a lot easier if I had a fully functioning index finger. Whittle the chunk out of my finger with a hook knife. Literally. All that light. Wintertime, you're rushing to get everything done before nightfall. But I am in need of a break. In need of some coffee and some calories. So, let's take 5 minutes.
As the trench gets deeper, he jokes that the setup would probably look suspicious if anyone happened to walk by, especially since he is essentially digging a human-sized hole in the middle of the woods. Once the trench is complete, he explains that the shelter is not historically accurate for a forest environment, since natural cover already exists there.
So our slit trench is dug. I'm not messing with the big roots. Fortunately, there's only been one humongous root that we've come across, and that will be located at my foot end, and I can just put my feet underneath it. And this is the thing, 100% accuracy this is not, because you wouldn't necessarily need a shelter like this in the woods because we're already surrounded by natural coverage. This shelter would be more applicable to an open environment, but here we are.
But he continues for the sake of the experiment. He lines the trench with a tarp to protect his gear from dirt before placing the waterproof sheet across wooden supports and covering it all with soil, leaving only a small opening to crawl through. The entire structure ends up looking surprisingly compact and claustrophobic. One of the more tense moments comes when he talks about the obvious danger of the trench collapsing while he is inside it.
So the obvious danger here is having the trench collapse in on itself while I'm inside of it. I don't want to be buried when I'm dead, let alone alive. This is something I would recommend doing with someone else with you, ready, with a shovel. But me, I'm a trained professional, with my fingers crossed.
He openly admits that this is something people should probably never attempt alone, joking that he is a trained professional with fingers crossed while warning about the possibility of being buried alive. After testing the setup with his sleeping gear, he discovers the space is extremely tight, comparing the feeling to being cuddled by dirt that could cave in at any moment. As night falls, the atmosphere becomes much calmer. He lights a small candle lantern near the entrance so he does not accidentally fall into the trench in the dark, and settles in beside a dying fire before crawling underground for the night.
Chicken and lentils on a stick. We've squeezed in to our slit trench, and we're going to call it a night. At least we'll be out of the wind. Except there's no wind. I think we'll be okay. We'll see you in the morning. And I'll see you in the morning.
By morning, he admits the shelter technically worked, but the trench should have been dug at least another foot deeper because sleeping inside was an uncomfortable squeeze.
Result, I really needed to go down another foot because it was a squeeze in there. Unfortunately, because of the lack of light we have these days, we only had a limited amount of time to get this dug out. It is what it is. We live and learn. Should have gone down another foot.
What makes the video interesting is not really survival danger or drama, but the realism of testing outdated military gear in modern conditions. Between the endless digging, the cramped underground shelter, and the dark humor about being buried alive, the whole experience feels more like an exhausting field experiment than a comfortable camping trip. This video share from a camping channel's Exploring with Bear, where the creator spends nights alone in remote areas during extreme weather, often mixing survival-style camping with strange sounds and unsettling experiences in the woods. In this episode, he camps alone in freezing temperatures deep in the snow while testing different ways to heat his tent overnight.
So, all right, we got our fire going behind us. It is currently 25 degrees out right now. Now by 8 o'clock in the morning, it's supposed to be down to 12. So it's going to slowly be dropping until that time. But anyway, so it is much, much later now. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe getting close to about 10 o'clock. So the heater that's been in the tent has not been running this whole time since earlier when I cut out on part one. So right now the tent's going to be 25 degrees. I figure we wait till we get in there, sit in there with it, and let that door be shut a good long time, and then we'll get a real feel on, you know, a little more accurate on if this thing can heat a tent or not.
Very early on, the atmosphere already feels uneasy because he mentions seeing mysterious lights in the woods during a previous trip to the same area.
I don't know if you guys seen last week's video, not part one of this one, but last week's, there was a light that I captured at nighttime back in the woods here. There shouldn't be nothing back there, just trees.
And throughout the night, he repeatedly hears movement, whistles, and strange noises coming from the darkness around the campsite.
Did you hear that? It's pretty cool. You can hear like the wind starting way down there, and you can hear it like coming all the way up through, and like even when it goes up over you, it's pretty cool. You can hear it coming. You guys hear that? Sounds like somebody whistling. And that's impossible. I mean, not impossible, but highly improbable.
One of the creepiest moments happens when he begins hearing what sounds like footsteps and growling somewhere beyond the trees near the tent.
Man, I sure hope none of these big trees side on blowing down tonight. What is that? If that moves, I might poop my pants. What is that thing? Huh. Man, guys, it is getting cold out. I'm not sure what time it is again. I'm gonna have to check. I gotta get in the tent though. My hands, I should have my gloves on, but whoa.
At one point, the sound becomes loud enough that it genuinely scares him.
Man, there was just something was growling out there. I am armed, but man, that sounded scary. Let's see if it growls again. That was scary. My heart's about to pound out of my chest. That was a crazy sound. I don't hear anything now. It's been a couple minutes. I didn't even hear it walking around at all. It was just a growl. It's sort of like a snort growl. I don't know. Weird to explain.
It's trying to figure out what made the noise. Later, after attempting Bigfoot-style knocking into the woods, he becomes increasingly paranoid as more unexplained sounds continue around him in the darkness. The cold conditions make the situation even worse. His hands begin freezing painfully, his tent heater barely works, and even preparing food becomes difficult in the dropping temperatures. Throughout the night, the wind, snow, and constant noises outside create a very isolated atmosphere. The highlight of the video comes around 2 a.m. when he suddenly wakes up hearing something scratching against the outside of the tent.
And it walked halfway around it, scratching. Something's walking out there.
He says whatever it was appeared to walk halfway around the tent while continuing to scratch at the fabric from outside.
Better be ready.
The moment clearly panics him because he immediately grabs his flashlight and listens carefully while something continues moving nearby in the darkness. By morning, the tent is covered in ice crystals, and the entire campsite is frozen over from the overnight snowfall. Even though nothing is ever fully seen on camera, the combination of the freezing isolation, growling sounds, and the scratching around the tent makes this feel far more unsettling than a normal winter camping trip. This video comes from an outdoor camping channel, Swamp Valley, where the creator explores strange locations connected to local legends, abandoned places, and supposed paranormal activity. In this episode, he visits the woods surrounding an old detention center that was once a prison. The location is tied to a disturbing story from 1962, where 2 escaped inmates fled into the forest and were later found dead inside old water tanks hidden deep in the woods.
I'm at the Underhill Detention Centre, which has had some history around it. Basically, it didn't used to be a detention centre, it used to be a prison. And in 1962, 2 inmates escaped, fled into the woods. There's a big woodland here, and yeah, didn't find them. Thought they'd got away. A month later, they found their remains in some water tanks that are somewhere up here. I've done a bit of research, I'm hoping to find them.
Although he says he does not believe in ghosts, he decides to camp nearby to see if the stories about strange noises and paranormal activity are true. After navigating through the forest with a compass, he eventually discovers the abandoned water tanks and climbs down inside alone, despite clearly feeling nervous about it.
The initial plan was to find this place and actually go down into the water tanks. I'm going in. Possibly the stupidest thing I've ever done. Excuse the bad camera angles, but I don't want to fall down here.
While nothing major happens underground, the isolated setting and echoing darkness make the entire exploration feel uneasy.
Thank you for all that. It's pretty spooky. I'm in it. So far, no creepy vibes. Very, well, echoey. But, yeah.
Later, after setting up camp deeper in the woods, the atmosphere changes completely. While cooking food over the fire, he suddenly hears a strange noise nearby that he cannot explain.
I actually just heard something there. Did you? I'm gonna check the recording. I need to see if I recorded that. Hold on.
After checking the camera recording and realizing the sound was captured, he becomes visibly shaken because it does not sound like a normal animal or bird. The turning point of the video comes when he hears the noise again and immediately decides to abandon the campsite entirely.
Yeah. I'm gonna figure out a plan. Alright, so I've heard the noise again. I've packed up my bags. I'm getting the heck out of here. I'm not messing about with this stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna get out of here.
What started as a joke about haunted woods quickly turns serious as he packs his gear in panic and tries navigating back through the forest at night, using only a compass. As he continues walking through the darkness, the situation gets worse. He begins struggling to find the road, believes his compass is no longer working properly, runs low on battery, and realizes he may actually be lost in the woods.
Fucking compass isn't working. I'm just gonna have to follow, like, instincts. There are planes flying. I'm gonna try and use them to navigate. This is messed up, man. This is actually messed up.
By the end, he sounds genuinely frightened and exhausted, admitting he no longer cares about filming and only wants to get out safely. What makes the video unsettling is how quickly the mood changes from casual exploration to real panic. Instead of obvious paranormal evidence, the fear comes from isolation, confusion and the feeling of being completely alone in a dark forest connected to a disturbing history. This video shares from the channel Wild Bliss Bunny, where the creator mixes solo urban camping with honest real-time storytelling about the unpredictability of sleeping outdoors alone. In this episode, she heads to a strange little patch of redwood trees hidden beside a busy walking road surrounded by cars, hikers, and city noise. At first, the location feels surprisingly peaceful despite being in the middle of an urban area, and she becomes excited after spotting a small white rabbit near the exact place she decides to camp, joking that it feels like some kind of sign leading her there.
Oh my gosh. I cannot even believe this, you guys. I can't even make this up. There is a bunny right here. Are you kidding me? I guess this is where we're gonna set up camp because, like, come on. It does not really get more auspicious than that. I swear. Based on some of the comments, people are probably gonna think I put that there. I swear. On my life, I did not. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna be right in here.
The mood shifts almost immediately once problems start piling up. While setting up camp, her camera tripod falls over and completely breaks the microphone receiver, forcing her to continue filming without proper audio for the rest of the night. Even with the setback, she keeps going and spends a large section of the video struggling to assemble a tiny trekking pole backpacking tent she has never actually used before.
I have never used this tent before, but I've had it for a while. Like I said, I got to go backpacking. Hopefully someday I'll actually make that happen, but let's bust it out. And one of the reasons this tent was so cheap is that you have to seam seal it yourself.
Improvising with extra stakes and trying to make the cramped shelter work inside the redwoods. What makes the video stand out is how quickly the atmosphere changes from relaxing to uncomfortable.
It sure is tiny in there. It's definitely a one-person tent, like made for backpacking so that it's as light as possible, but still got a tent. This is the inside. As you can see, there's really not much space in here. It is a very, very small tent.
While inside the tent preparing her bedding, she notices a man on a bicycle repeatedly circling the area around her campsite and lingering near the picnic table nearby.
Hey guys, I gotta abandon camp. I'm here in my tent. I was about to get my bedding situated, but some dude, so there was this guy on the bike and he kept like doing circles around, and then he sat at the bench that I showed you earlier, the table, and then he like went and sat by a tree, and I was like, what is going on? And then I thought he left, and then he came and he said knock knock after I like set up my tent and everything, and I'm like, why are you knock knocking? You know, why are you circling around on your bike and like making it like you left?
The situation becomes genuinely unsettling when the man suddenly approaches in the dark and says knock knock outside her tent after pretending to leave earlier. She immediately decides the situation feels unsafe and abandons the camp altogether, packing everything up and hiking back to her car in complete darkness. Back in the car, she explains in detail why the interaction disturbed her so much, especially as a woman camping alone in a tiny tent at night.
I have a lot of street smarts. I've been through a lot. I've put myself, this isn't a good thing or a bad thing, it just is, in a lot of insane situations in my life, way worse than doing some camping outside. And I can assess the situation and know when it's time to go. Like, I knew I needed to leave tonight. This was not good.
She says the man's behavior felt wrong from the beginning, and that trusting her instincts was more important than forcing the trip to continue. By the end, the video feels less like a camping adventure and more like a reminder of how quickly an outdoor trip can turn uncomfortable. Between the broken equipment, the failed camp setup, and the unsettling encounter in the woods, the whole experience goes from cozy to tense surprisingly fast. This video comes from a camping channel, Male Adventures. This video follows a father and daughter wild camping trip in the Peak District, that quickly turns into a failed survival attempt after worsening weather and dangerous flooding conditions force them to abandon camp. At the start, they struggle just to reach the camping spot because the nearby river has become extremely aggressive from the rain, forcing them to search for a completely different route through difficult terrain.
I'm with my dad. He's way over there. So, I'm just trying to get to this spot. I have to find a different way to get to this spot because the river is just crazy. So, we need to go up and then go down again. So, should be interesting.
Once they finally arrive, they realize there is barely enough room for shelter. So the two decide to squeeze together under a single setup while racing against worsening weather and fading daylight.
Okay, so we're here at this spot. Don't know if you can hear me right now. There isn't enough space for 2 tents, so me and Dad are just going to share 1 tent and we're going to put the tarp up. So let's get going because we're tired.
The conditions continue getting worse as heavy fog, strong wind, and soaked ground begin taking over the campsite almost immediately after they finish setting up. The turning point comes when they notice the river rapidly rising around them and the entire area becoming dangerously wet.
The river is rising so much and it's already we're so damp here now, more so than earlier. Yeah, we decided that it's just a no-go today and just go back.
Leading them to make the difficult decision to abandon the camp before nightfall. The retreat back becomes one of the most intense parts of the video. While hiking out through the storm and darkness, a massive tree suddenly crashes down nearby, badly frightening both of them and making them realize how dangerous the situation had actually become. Later, while sitting safely inside the car, they explain that the island near their camp was slowly disappearing under the rising water and that staying overnight could have ended very badly.
We can see how the water was just rushing down and just getting higher and higher. I wasn't expecting it to be like that. And on the way back, it was really crazy because as we were walking, a gigantic tree fell down. Isn't it, Dad? Yeah. Me and Dad were literally just really shocked. It made me scream, actually. I'm kind of glad that we actually left because imagine if we were there just sleeping and then the tree just fell down on us. Anyway, it's going to be a long journey back home.
By the end, the creator admits the trip was physically exhausting, mentioning cuts and injuries from repeatedly slipping during the escape back through the rain and mud. Even though the camp completely failed, the video still feels memorable because of how real and unpredictable the experience becomes. Between the flooding river, collapsing tree, brutal weather, and forced evacuation, the whole trip feels more like surviving nature than a normal camping adventure.